second class, or the beginning of the second class, in the middle of the subject of what it is, the model of tshuva according to the Kuzari. Now I need to be honest. When I prepared this year, I went fishing. What do I mean I went fishing? I had a hunch, I had a feeling, and I wasn't so sure it's a good. And I went fishing, basically I read the book and went fishing. And I threw my hook, and I tried to figure out if there's something over there or not. And I went over the Chassid, the concept of the Chassid in the Kuzari, and it looked fine. And I said, we can work with that, basically. But now, when I worked with that, as I said, and I figured out there's something way more into it. Actually, that is the entire story of tshuva according to the Kuzari. If you remember last week when we spoke on the Chassid, we spoke on what? We spoke on the Chassid as a governor, as a mushel ba'ir aktana, as a governor of the small city. We spoke on the Chassid as a person who has a model of life of olam haba. And we explained what is olam haba. When we're talking about olam haba, we're not speaking necessarily on Gan Eden and Gehinnom. Metzuyan, exactly, is the world that is to come. Olam ha-memashmesh hu ba, olam ha-karev hu ba. Till here is simple. We explained the Chassid is the person that basically lives his life for olam ha-memashmesh hu ba. And we stopped over here basically, right? That was the place where we stopped. We said a little bit more stuff, but these are the main concepts we went over. But now I want to show how this lifestyle of Olam HaMashmesh hu ba is a lifestyle of Olam Shel Tshuva, the world of Tshuva. The Chassid becomes a role model of the Baal Tshuva. The person that has Tshuva has an answer and has redemption also. The Chassid becomes, the behavior of the Chassid becomes the model of what is Tshuva. And we'll see how. So in the pages you have Ma'amar Shlishi, Chelek Hey, Amud Kuf Aleph. And I want to start a paragraph before the end. Vine. The Chassid, the Kuzari, speaks a little bit on davening. And he says, Vine erech kol el hanefesh hu kerech hamazon leguf. Sheken תפילת אדם טובה לנפשו, כשם שהמזון תועלת לגופו. He says davening is like what? It's like eating. The same way the Chassid has what? The same way the Chassid has eating, as the concept of eating as a concept that's connected for him being a governor. Davening is exactly the same. What I mean davening is exactly the same. Also needs to be in balance, needs to be as a set, needs to be as it is in the set amount. Same way a person that eats too much needs to do what? A diet. Or some people do not like diet, so they say exercise. So it needs to exercise to burn calories. The same way, you shouldn't daven too much. Everything needs to be in a balance, a moshel. וכן ברכת כל תפילה שורה על האדם עד שעת התפילה שאחריה. It says, when you daven shacharit, the effect of the davening is basically on you. You live on this effect till when? Till the next davening. כשם שכוח הסעודה שסעד מתקיים בו עד שיסעד סעודת הלילה. The same way when you ate lunch, so you're using the fuel, the calories, the energy you got during your meal till when? Till the next meal, till dinner. אולם, ככל אשר תתרחק שעת התפילה, תלך הנפש הלוך וקדום מטרדות העולם הבאות עליה. Further you are from the davening, the more your spirit, your senses will feel it. The same way if you don't eat, your body feels it. Also in davening. Same way we can define the words of the Kuzari, that holiness is a part of the ingredients of what? Of the human being. What we call holiness, what we call religious acts, religious actions. What are the religious actions? religious actions like davening, set religious actions that have set times, they fulfill basically a purpose. The purpose of them is giving you fuel the same way the food gives you fuel. The further you are from the davening, the weaker you are. Now let's go on. ובייחוד אם יביאנה הכרח להימצא בחברת אנשים רעים ולשמוע דברים האוכרים זוך נפשו, דיבורים מגונים או שירים שהנפש נועה אחריהם עד שאי אפשר להשתלט עליה. אך בשעת התפילה מתאר האדם את נפשו מכל מה שעבר עליה בינתיים ומכין אותה לקראת העתיד. He basically says, your problem starts when? Your problem starts in the second when you leave your cocoon, when you leave your safe and simple place. What is your safe and simple place? Basically your own mind, your own body. But what happens when you go into the world and you hang out with people that are not on the same level like you? So obviously they do what? They take you down. Now look carefully what the Kuzari says. The Kuzari says that's a fact. The fact is that during the day, what happens to you? You go down. The fact is that during the day, what happens to you? You're exposed to stuff that you shouldn't be exposed to. Does the Kuzari say that is a reason to avoid life? No, definitely not. That's part of the price you pay of living life. The Kuzari said in the beginning, what is the Chassid? The Chassid is a person that what? The Chassid is a person that stays in society, that lives life. But living in society means paying a price, paying a spiritual price. So we have a solution. The same way food is a solution for what? Is a solution for hunger. What is a solution for spiritual hunger? That you get the spiritual hunger because you're hanging out with people or you're living in the normal society where people are not perfect like you. What is the solution for that on a daily basis? Davening, tefillah. Ad po till here, akol tov yafeh. Everything is perfect. That is the goal of davening. Davening basically gives you the power to do what? To live your life in a normal way till when? Till the next davening. But the Kuzari goes on and says that is not enough. And let's see how. Omnam al af הסדר הזה אי אפשר שיעבור שבוע בלא שיתקלקלו הגוף והנפש. כי במשך ימות השבוע מצטברים מותרות אוכרים שלא יתרחן לצרפם ולבערם. כי אם על ידי ההתמדה בעבודת השם במשך יום. He says, 1 second, time out. You think davening is enough? It's not enough. In the course of a week, you expose so much, you get exposed so many times to stuff that you shouldn't be. Now again, that's a price Rabbi Yehuda Levi says the Chassid needs to pay. You need to pay this price. But you need to be aware that what? That you are paying a price. During the week, you'll be exposed to stuff that you shouldn't be exposed to. Your nature as a Chassid is what? Your nature as a Chassid is as a person that lives in the world, is part of society. But if you are part of society, you get scarred. And you get scarred so much that sometimes davening will not be enough. This daily base routine is not good enough already. This daily base routine doesn't give you the fuel to the future. This daily base routine is doesn't make the deal. Doesn't give you the ability to survive. And that's what he says. During the week, you get affected. So what's the solution? You need to have atmudah ba'avodat Hashem yom tamid. You need to have what? A day that basically is like the entire day is davening. The entire day is avodat Hashem, worshiping God, working God. Nosafa menuchat haguf, more than resting. And what is this day? Shabbat. Kuzari says, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi says, ככה ממלא הגוף בשבת את אשר עבד לו בששת הימים והתכונן לקראת העתיד. That's the way the body takes fuel, regains its power that it lost during the 6 days, and works towards where? Towards the future, אל העתיד. והנפש אף היא זוכרת ביום זה מה שעבד לה מתוך שערכה בצורכי הגוף. It's not only the body gaining power, it's also the spirit gaining power towards the future. ביום זה היא כאילו מתרפאת ומחלימה מחולי שהיה לה. In this day, she's like getting healthier from an illness that happened to her. ומצטיידת בכוחות שידחו מעליה את החולי הזה לעתיד. And she's regaining a vaccine that will help her to protect herself, to protect the body, to protect the persona from the same problems in the future. כדרך שהיה איוב נוהג לעשות אחת לשבוע למען בניו ואומרו אולי חטאו בניי. איוב did the same. I want to focus a little bit on this concept. Basically, the Kuzari says, what is the Shabbat? Shabbat is the day of what? Chazara b'tshuva. You got affected by the world. You lost your spiritual power during the week. And Shabbat as Chazara b'tshuva did what? Gave you the power to live the next week in a positive way. To be honest, the word Shabbat is connected to which word? Tshuva. I'm sure that it's not the first time you heard about it. Shabbat and Tshuva, Lashuv, the Shabbat are really connected. And the question is why? And now we'll try to explain according to the perspective of the Kuzari. Shabbat is called also what? Me'en Olam Haba. Remember the Olam Haba, we spoke about the Chassid before? The Chassid works for the sake of Olam Haba. Shabbat is what? Shabbat is a small amount, or the heart, or the summary, or whatever you want to call it, of this Olam Haba. It's a part of Olam Haba. But what makes Shabbat over here Me'en Olam Haba? Shabbat makes you Me'en Olam Haba because Shabbat gives you the power to live a better future. Shabbat gives you the power to do what? To fix the past and to build on the past to a higher level. That is Shabbat, according to Rabbi Yehuda Halevi over here. The Chassid on Shabbat does what? That's over here is the most interesting part. When we actually figure out that the Chassid is a Chassid, during the weekdays? No. Because what? Because the Chassid is part of society, and the non-Chassid, the regular person, is also part of society. So we can't figure out that the Chassid is a Chassid on what? On a regular weekday. Because from outside it looks exactly the same. You don't know that what? That the Chassid is a person that controls every aspect of his body. You don't know that the Chassid is a person that eats exactly the amount he's supposed to eat. You don't know that. When you look at him outside, it looks exactly the same. When you see the change, he sees a change on Shabbat. What is the Shabbat for the Chassid? The Shabbat is only a time for rest? Shabbat is only Shabbat Menucha? Or Shabbat is also Me'en Olam Haba? Is the time to prepare himself towards the future. What?
Is that just done through prayer?
Louder.
Is that just done through prayer?
No, definitely not. He says Menuchat Aguf ve'Menuchat Nefesh. And he goes on, כאילו מתרפאת ומחלימה מהחולי שהיה לו מצטיידת בכוחות שידחו מעליה את החולי הזה לעתיד. A prayer is a time when you stop everything and you say, what? Now I'm focusing on God. The nature of Shabbat, or not focusing on God, now I'm focusing on control. On remembering that I need to control my own body, to control myself during the day. It's like coaching. You know, today everyone goes to coaching. Not talking on wrestling coaching, on coaching. You know, coaching like pep talks, basically. Coaching is a nice way to make money from pep talks. So, tefillah in this way is a pep talk you give to yourself that will give you the ability to go on, to be part of society. Shabbat is what? In Shabbat you don't need a pep talk. The existence of Shabbat is the pep talk itself. The concept of Shabbat is the concept of a person that stops and says, now I'm taking a time out, like in basketball. A good coach doesn't take a time out for what? He doesn't take a time out to scream on his players what you did, why you didn't listen to me. You see that something doesn't work, he takes a time out to do what? Okay, this didn't work, and now we will do a new thing. We will try to fix it. And if it's the last game, we'll take a time out to do what? To basically raise the moral of the players. Why to raise the moral of the players? Because that's the only way that we'll do better in the next game. The timeout is not for the past, it's for the future. Shabbat is a timeout for the future, for the sake of the future. Listen carefully. Tshuva, according to that, is not for the sake of the past. According to the Kuzari, when the Chassid does tshuva, the point is not for fixing the past. The point is to give you power to live the future, to give you power to go on and be part of society, because if not, who can? If not, the only solution is what? Isolation. To isolate yourself from reality. So Shabbat in some way, and tshuva that happens during Shabbat, and Shabbat is the tshuva, Shabbat is the answer, is this timeout for the sake of the future. When you do tshuva, you don't try to change the past. You try to write your own future. You try to put yourself on the correct path. You don't look back. Shabbat is not looking back. In Shabbat, you focus on the week to come. And the entire week, entire next week, is focusing on what? On the next Shabbat. That is the concept of a Baal Tshuva. A Baal Tshuva is someone that defines his future. A Baal Tshuva is someone that lives Olam Haba, that lives Me'en Olam Haba of Shabbat, the word to come. That is the Tshuva. To create the path, to create for yourself a way when you can be a governor and at the same time be part of society. But it doesn't stop over there. Let's go on. ושוב מתאר החסיד לקראת הרפואה החודשית בראש חודש, שהוא זמן כפרה לכל תולדותם, כלומר לתולדות החודשים. והתולדות הללו הן מאורעות ימים, כמו שנאמר, כי לא תדע מה ילד יום. Another time of tshuva is when? Rosh Chodesh. Why Rosh Chodesh is special, you know? Tzadok HaKohen Milublin, you ever heard about him? Tzadok HaKohen Milublin? Tzadok HaKohen Milublin is one of the last generation's Rebbes, Hasidic Rebbes, that actually lived. What?
Is it Tzedek HaTzadik?
Yeah, the book Tzedek HaTzadik that Rabbi Avi is teaching in Yeshiva is basically based, is a work, the supreme work of Reb Tzadok HaKohen Milublin. He wrote also he wrote books also on the Parsha. It's called Pri Tzadik, and basically Tzedkat Tzadik is a really interesting book to look in, and he explains the concept of Rosh Chodesh. And he says, what is Rosh Chodesh? Every holiday in our religion is what? We have a reason, right? And what Rosh Chodesh is talking about? Do you know the reason? When we celebrate Rosh Chodesh, according to what? According to the moon. Right? What we said? The renewal of the moon to do what? Basically to start. We don't celebrate the end of the month. We celebrate the new month. But it's not enough. Does the moon has what to celebrate? You already know the new is a famous midrash, the famous Rashi in the Torah, that the words of Rav Kook, Chat'a levana, nitma'ata. The moon had sinned. How's the moon had sinned? When Kadosh Baruch Hu, according to the Torah and according to the Midrash, defines and explains, created the world, what happened to the moon? She came to Kadosh Baruch Hu and said, me and the sun, en shnei melachim meshamshim beketer echad. We can't have two kings that rule at the same time. So Kadosh Baruch Hu said, no problem. Lechimati tatzmeh. Make yourself smaller. But לעתיד לבוא, אור הלבנה יהיה כאור החמה. The light of the moon will be equal to the light of the sun. On Rosh Chodesh, we don't celebrate the current situation of the moon. We don't celebrate a current event at all, because there's no special current event on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the holiday of the future. What's more natural for Rosh Chodesh to be a day that the Chassid defines himself on reflecting towards the future, defining his own future based on the past, defining his new path, defining his future. Let's go on. ושוב יתעד לקראת שלוש רגלים, ולבסוף לקראת יום הצום הנכבד. What is the last day? The biggest day of the Chassid, the governor, is the day of Tshuva. Yom HaTshuva. Yom HaKippurim. What is Yom HaKippurim according to that? Is it a day that reflects on the past? Maybe. But is that the goal of Yom HaKippurim? No. Yom HaKippurim is what? A day that reflects on the future. Think about when Kohen Gadol entered Kodesh HaKodeshim, what he said. You remember from the davening? He davened that there will be rain, and he davened that there will be money on the market, on the babies, on the women, on the pregnancies. He davened on the future year. We are people of the future. We don't look only on the present. We don't stop for a second. Because the present is not necessarily the solution. What you see right now is only what? A small part of the big puzzle. What you see right now is the moment. But the Chassid has different type of eyeglasses. some way it's like the future Google eyeglasses, right? Future Google eyeglasses, they don't show you only what you see. They show you, you can ask them what you're going to do. Super Siri, the Google eyeglasses. Think about it. We are defining our future. That's the eyeglasses of the Chassid. These are the Chassid's eyeglasses. Now let's see a little bit more. ביום זה יטהר מכל חטא שחטא בעבר, ובו ישלים את אשר החסיר בשבתות וראשי חודשים. First of all, it's a day of what? Of fixing the past. Fixing what you didn't fix on Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh. ביום זה תטהר הנפש מכל בלבולי הסברה, הכוחות הכסניים, הכוחות המתהווים, ותשוב בתשובה שלמה, מלחזקם במחשבה ובמעשה. It says a lot of stuff happened to you during the years. A lot of powers affected you. A lot of powers defined who you are. You became angry. You, in some way, you got pushed to a corner and you adopted a type of thought that is not you. You did a lot of stuff. What is the way to fix them? To erase them? To do rewind? Definitely not. The way to fix them is lechazik, as the Kuzari says. To give more strength, to give more power. It's ridiculous. What do you mean to give more strength, to give more power? To take the same powers you got and to use them in the correct way. To prepare to create a new road based on what you got before. Based on just negative powers to create a better future. והנה, and I'm skipping a little bit, צום היום הזה עושה את החסיד דומה כמעט למלאכים. This fast makes the Chassid almost like what? An angel. שכן עובר עליו היום בענווה וכניעה. This entire day is a day of humbly. בעמידה ובהשתחוויה, standing and bowing. בשיבוח מודעה, praising God. וכל כוחותיו הגופניים צמים מן הצרכים הטבעיים וטרודים בתרדה של מצווה לבד. כאילו לא היה בו טבע בהמי כלל. It's like he doesn't have a body. Everything is focused on what? Not in the present. What the body does a lot of times. Body makes you focus on what? On the past, on the present. When you put aside the body, you have time to focus on what? On the future, on who you're going to be, what defines you. This the way will be the fast of the Chassid every time you fast. מענה בו את הראייה והשמיעה ואת הלשון אינו מעסיקם כי אם בדברים המקרבים את האדם אל האלוה. וכן יעשה גם לכוחות הפנימיים, לדמיון, למחשבה וכדומה. He does it to everything, to all of his existence. Now I need to open a little bit more the background. What is the background of the book? What is the frame story of the book? Remember, the frame story of the book is the king calling the Christian, the Muslim, the philosopher, first the philosopher, then the Christian and the Muslim, everyone except of who? Of the Jew, to come and speak. As it was said over here, the king says, I didn't want to call you guys, because right now you're what? Adata mushpelet. You're mushpalim. You are basically like same level of the dirt, of the ground. But the chaver comes and says, one moment, don't get confused. Don't look in the present. You're right. Right now in the present, we're all dirty. Right now in the present, we are not perfect. We are not in the place that we are supposed to be. The present, you're right, doesn't suit us. But the Chaver tells them, listen to my words. My words do not define the present, and they even do not define the past, if you remember. He didn't start from what? From the creation. My words define Am Yisrael. The potential of Am Yisrael. The potential of Am Yisrael for the future. For the days to come. Maybe that's exactly the concept of tshuva. What we do during tshuva. Because if you want to be honest, this entire concept of tshuva is crazy. It's ridiculous. We sinned. We did something we're not supposed to do. What happens right now? We come to God and we start singing. It's like a song. It's like almost everyone dancing. And you know what? You'll be over here in Yom Kippur. People will dance also. Dancing on Yom Kippur? Should be scary. Who gave you permission to speak with God this way? To feel so intimate with God? But if we don't focus on the present, we say the present is the present. We can't deny it. We truly did mess up. We truly did something we're not supposed to do. We are not in the perfect place. But you know what? We have a longer perspective. We look on the future. We look on the days to come. Oh, that's a reason to dance. Because you know on yourself that all the bad things that happened to you, that you did, you want them right now, this moment, only to be a vessel for what? For a better future, for a better personality, for a better human being. So it will define who you are right now. So it will define every person that sits at this table as the future chassid that they are, that they will be. That is exactly the concept of redemption. That is exactly the concept of tshuva. You can ask for forgiveness only if you focus on the future. Because if you focus on the present, to be honest, there's no reason to forgive. And in some way, maybe tshuva, according to that, is even not asking for forgiveness. In this way, tshuva is what? Is fixing. Is fixing the path, or is creating a new path. When you do tshuva, you don't ask God to forgive you. You come and light your actions in a new light. You create the next step. It's like Doherty's yellow Doherty's, right? Yellow brick road. Yellow brick road, right? The yellow brick road is not in the past. If Doherty would stop, she would never get to the witch. It's only on the future. The entire concept of the road is what? That there is a road. That there is a path. If you don't believe in the path, you don't believe that the path will take you to a better place, so you stop. You go back. You look to the sides. That's a big story of the Chassid. And I believe we can take it also to the next level, to the next step. A lot of times you will see that, especially in the beginning of the Mesilat Yesharim, that's the famous quote, but not only, and we saw it before, that Olam Hazeh is only a postdor to Olam Haba. That this world is only an introduction, only a hallway towards the Traklim, towards the living room of Olam Haba. But according to this explanation, it makes so much meaning. Yes, you're right. This world is what? Is the introduction to Olam Haba. But what is this Olam Haba? If you focus on the now and the moment, that's introduction to Olam Haba. But what is Olam Haba? The moment is an introduction to the future, to the life of the future. A person that lives his life only based on the moment, his life are only an introduction. Yeah. That is a sad thing to say, but that's true. But a person that understands that his world, that his life are for the future, or for defining what he's going to be soon enough, that is Olam Haba. And the beautiful thing is that in some ways the past has a beginning point, right? There is a second of the beginning of time. Time started somewhere, somehow. Is there a second of ending of time? That's a little more complicated, probably not. Because Olam Haba, the future, is what? Endless. The present slips. Right now was the present, and right now the present became past. Past is over. But the future, that is forever. Forever and ever and ever. That is the concept of life of Olam Haba. When you put everything in a different perspective, when you put your own actions in a different perspective, and you understand in a perspective of the future, your small action right now is only a glimpse in the path to a better place, in the path to a better future. It's only a glimpse towards the future, towards Olam Haba. And I think that's exactly the concept of the Chassid. The only way to get, according to Kuzari, to this type of tshuva is being a Chassid, is being a governor on your body, is defining, is knowing what you do exactly because you're planning something. You don't have a meaningless life. Your life do have a meaning, and therefore you have a system. The system defines the meaning. And you take time to redirect yourself. And this redirecting is tshuva. And the biggest day of tshuva is the day we define who you're going to be tomorrow, who you're going to be the next year, who you're going to be for eternity, for your Olam Haba. Ad kan.